What's going on out there, folks? Rooster here in Tennessee. I'm going to do a video here, a review, I guess you would say. RMKL 503 HD, made by RM Italy. We've got this one sealed up in the box right now. There's the seal that comes on it there. They just got a little piece of tape that's show you that the seal hasn't been broken. We'll open this thing up here in a second, but we're just going to do an output test on it. I've done a review on the 503P, I believe, the 203, and just going to kind of continue here and do one on the 503 HD. Takes a little bit more drive than the 503 standard, and we'll get into that here in a second. But we'll kick it with our Galaxy 44 and see what she'll do here. So I'll break the seal. Resume here when I get the box open, and we'll go from there. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is how it comes inside the box, and of course when I ship these, I generally bubble wrap the outside of this box and place it into another box. So these come packed very well. Hard for them to get any kind of damage at all. Plus they're in kind of a rugged case too, so that helps. Just wanted to show you how it was packed in here. Give me a second, we'll pop this thing out, and then we'll get on with the show. Be right back. All right, before we hook it up, just going to do a outside overview of it here. AM and sideband modes. It does have a preamp on it, just like the 503P, and then it does have an amp on and off switch. So you can run the preamp by itself, or the amp by itself, or both of them together. It does have our power positions over here, which we'll test when we do an output test on it. Come around to the back of it. You've got your antenna or your output on the right, your input on the left. You can see our positive and negative hookups here. This piece just screws to the back of the amp. You got some screws there, you can undo it. And then on the bottom here are your screws to tighten up in there on your hot and your ground. So when you tighten or loosen those little teeth, those little bars in there come down and tighten up on it for you. You can see it's got a warranty seal here, warranty void if seal is broken. I'm just going to tell you guys, not a lot goes wrong with these aside from the MOSFETs if you overdrive them. If you overdrive them, you will pop a MOSFET, and they do not cover MOSFETs under warranty. Just as most amp builders, even your competition style amp guys, they don't cover transistors. They'll warranty anything in the amp besides transistors. Reason being, people can overdrive stuff and end up, popping the transistors due to user error, user failure. So transistors, MOSFETs generally don't fall under warranty anyway. The RM guys are no different. They don't warranty MOSFETs. So that being said, we're going to hook this thing up. I've got some little short power leads here to hook it up and test it. Let's take a look at the paperwork real quick before we get into this here. They are nice enough to supply you with the paperwork. You can see the current that it requires, 30 amps recommended. Tells you how many MOSFETs are in it. Most important part that I'm going to sit here and look at, input RF power, 1 watt to 35 watts max. So we're going to be hitting it with about 35 to 38 watts peak. And you may get by putting a little more into it, but these guys cover their butt and say 35 watts. So that's what I'm going to recommend, 35 watts. With the standard 503, I usually tell people 25 to 30, and this being the HD, it takes a little bit more. Input SWR 1115, and then output. Basically tells you all about the amp. Nice little bit of paperwork they supply with their amps. Tells you about the preamp and everything else. Pages are sticking together here. But you guys get the point. Hard to maneuver with one hand. There you go. We're going to test this thing on our dummy load. Let me pause the video and we'll get into the actual output test of it. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we've got it hooked up here. We're going to get into our output test here soon enough. Show you all the lights work on it. There you go. Turn that off, and we're just going to check our dead key on our radio here. We'll put it at about 9 o'clock. We've got a 5-watt slug in here. So about a watt at 9 o'clock. We'll go to 12 o'clock. About 2 watts, 2.5 maybe. And then we'll go to 3 o'clock. And that gives us about 3 watts. So I just want to do that for a reference when we're checking the dead key on this amp here. Let's go ahead and put in our 500 watt slug. I think I've done enough videos with this 44. You guys know it does about 35 to 38. So let's go with our 500 watt slug here. Let's see. We'll start out on average just so we can get our dead key set. And we'll go ahead and power the amp on. Let's see. Actually do our preamp first. Let's test our preamp here. Let's see. 28. Okay, I'm gonna key up another radio with a dummy load, no preamp. 2 S units. Turn the preamp on. 9 S units. 2 to a 9. And these preamps, yes, you're going to bring in a little bit of static, but I will tell you guys, these guys have got their preamp circuit figured out. Best preamp in the business. Clean, and you just saw it almost tripled the signal, so love the preamp on these guys. Really good preamp. Can't say it enough. We'll start out wide open here. Let's go ahead and turn our preamp off. We are on AM mode. Turn the amp section on. We'll start out wide open. Remember, our radio was at 9 o'clock. If I remember right, that was a 1 watt or so dead key. So let's key it up and see what this guy does. 500 watt slug. Let's turn this other radio off. Hello. So that doesn't give us a lot of dead key. Audio. We're getting between 100 and 150 average. So let's roll our dead key up to 12 o'clock. And if I remember right, that was around 2 watts or so, maybe a little more. Okay, now we got some dead key working. Audio. Audio. 150 average there. We're drawing about 25 amps on my supply. So let's roll our dead key on up to about 3 o'clock and see what it dead keys. About 45 watts. Audio. And that's probably about the max that I would run dead key out of the amp. About 45 watts or so, 50 watts, to give it plenty of headroom. Now that being said, we're still wide open. So we're going to flip over and go to peak, since we already know what it's doing average. It's doing about 100.5 wide open. So let's go to peak, and then we'll go through every scale. We'll go all the way back here. I'm going to turn my radio, go ahead and cut it on back to, we'll say 12 o'clock. So let's go to peak on high, wide open, test it there. 500 watt slug, so that is the middle scale. Hello, audio, and this thing is really coming to town. Audio, about 350 or so. Audio. Now, people ask me all the time the difference between this and the 503, and I generally tell them that they do about the same amount of power. But seems like I'm getting a little more out of this guy than what the 503s do. Of course, we're hitting it with a little more drive too, but about 350 versus the 503s, I think we saw about 325. So let's go back one notch. Now we're on the fifth power level. Audio, 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 audio. Now we drop down below 300, about 285, 290. Now let's go back again to the fourth power level. Audio, 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 audio. About 250. Let's go to the third power level. Audio, 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 audio. Shy of 200, about 185. This is going to be power setting number 2. Audio, 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 middle scale. We're below 150 now. Audio. And we're going to go the first power level. Audio, audio, golly. Now that really cut it down. Audio, test, 1, 2. Audio, we're like at 50 watts. Then we'll just go back wide open again just to show you from 50 watts all the way up to hello, audio, 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 350. But that's it, guys. Wrap this video up. RM503HD. Questions, comments, complaints, let me know. Rooster in Tennessee, shoot me a text message, 423-299. I try to keep these in stock. This one is going to a local, and it's doing exactly what he needs it to do. I think he's going to use this thing as a driver. And I've actually got another friend of mine I'm going to try to convince to get one of these, because the power levels on this thing are just great. And being the high drive, this might be my favorite of all the RM amps. I like all of them, but I really like this 503 HD. Alright guys, enjoy. Sorry I don't have a sideband radio hooked up to run it with, but they'll do the same on sideband or a little better. Good amps. RM503 HD. Rooster in Tennessee. See you, bye.